Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News. This is Scott from the Nibiru channel. It is already August 4th, 2017. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to delve into some biblical prophecy. And I have with me special guest Jeff P. And Jeff's been a Planet X investigator for some time now. But, you know, before Jeff even got into the whole Planet X theory and Nibiru, you know, he was studying biblical prophecy and putting a lot of information together. And as of lately, a lot of things have been, let's just say, hitting home. And now his mind is on overdrive. And me and Jeff have had several conversations on what he's going to discuss with all of you. There's going to be a lot of information flying at you. And, you know, I'm pretty excited about it in a way. Jeff's excited about it in a way. And when we mean by excitement, not in a good sense, ladies and gentlemen, but the information is just overwhelming. And our physicist, Dr. Albers, you know, she is a Christian also, and she has studied a lot of this information that we're going to discuss. There are a lot of correlations, a lot of dates, a lot of information. And Jeff P. and the doctor are pretty much going to give you all of this information. And it is overwhelming. It's pretty freaky also. I have to use that word. So anyways, without any further ado, Jeff P., doctor, how are both of you this afternoon?
Well, I'm very well. Thank you, Scott. And how are you?
Not too bad. I'm enjoying my nice Italian espresso right here. As we start this show.
Good.
And
Jeff,
I'm doing well.
How you doing,
buddy?
I'm
doing fine. How are you doing? Can you hear me well?
Yep, absolutely. You're coming in crystal clear. So, you know, folks, without waiting around any longer, I'm going to turn this over to Jeff P. And he is going to give you some information that's probably going to blow your mind. Some of you may know a lot about it, but Jeff has definitely correlated a lot of information. So sit back and listen. Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, so I've got historical evidence of things that happened in the past, bad events that typically happen near the 29th of Elul, which is the last month, the last day of the Hebrew New Year. So that would pretty much, the last day of a Hebrew year is the new moon of September. The next day you see that crescent of light would begin the next year in the Jewish calendar. And on September 21st, it's going to be the Hebrew year 5778, which will be an end to the 70th 50-year Jubilee year, which dates all the way back to 1367 BC, when the children of Israel went into the promised land. So we're going to show you some facts, some Hebrew language, and the signs that we see, and it's just jump right in. So you guys can kind of hit me focus here. I have a tsunami of information. So
okay.
And you can try and keep me on course. If you want to interrupt me, please do. Okay, so this is from NASA. Oh, actually, let me turn on screen sharing.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Let me know when you can see my screen. Okay, so from NASA.
Okay, I can see it now.
Okay, so now all eclipses will be annular with the moon not quite big enough to cover the sun. The bottom line, the sun's diameter is 400 times larger than the moon, and the sun is also 400 times further from the Earth. So keep in mind for this number 400, because this is going to be interesting as you go a little forward here. Okay, so in the I'm going to give a lot of the credit to Mark Blitz or Biltz. He's on a YouTube channel, so I'm just going to share some desk shots from his YouTube channel. He shows the same fact also on this page. And then next, let me kind of go. I'm going to try to go as quickly as possible, but when the moon is its furthest in its apogee, we get an annual eclipse when the sun looks like this. And then when it's its perigee, its absolute closest, which would be a supermoon, we're going to get a total eclipse like we're going to see or a fake one, whatever, in August 21st. But there's some very interesting things that happened at this time. So the Hebrew letter, or the meaning for the word sign in Hebrew, is the word tav, and the symbol looks like this. It means a sign or a mark.
Yes.
Okay, so in Nineveh, there was an eclipse also, which is the modern day Mogul, or Mosul, excuse me. We keep hearing about Mosul and all the fighting that's going on there.
Yes.
And then on June 15th in 763 BC, we had a total eclipse over Mosul right here.
Mm.
And here it is on Wikipedia, the facts. For anybody who wants to fact check this event. I'm trying to see why I had this. I'm just going to skip past that. So here is a map of the Ottoman Empire that we had this solar eclipse that brought an end to this Ottoman Empire in 1914. On what day?
August.
This day. So we had a total eclipse over the Ottoman Empire, right over the capital city, which began World War I. And now 40 days, which I believe is a very ominous warning from God, that from 40 days in the year 2017, this is going to land on the Jewish feast day, Yom Kippur. It's the 6th of the feast days. I hope I can try and get into these feast days. It's very important of why that these solar eclipses are, not every solar eclipse is an omen. It just depends how it falls on the calendar, especially when it's 40 days from the Yom Kippur. So let me go to the next slide here. Now here we have the solar eclipse that's going to happen on October from east to west. I know there's some confusion why it does this. I hope that you could explain that further. I understand the math. It's going from east to west, even though the sun is going the opposite direction, but it's the way the casting the shadow.
Yeah, it is. It's because of the shadow. It's
right. So the moon's coming up from this side, but it's casting the shadow across, and the shadow's being cast as it's eclipsing for 2 minutes.
Yes.
And then it's going to happen again on this day, which just happens to be in Nisan, which is the new year. That's another very powerful in the month of Nisan on April 8th, 2024. Forming a perfect X.
Yes.
Right here, over these three great rivers. Both times the best viewing spot is right where these rivers converge.
Oh
where we
my
had
God.
an ancient earthquake that shook church bells on the East Coast.
Yes.
Now, what do you think the magnitude would that be, right?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Okay, and you even said that these are ancient fault lines too, right? The rift.
And there's an ancient fault line running right through their rift, and then oh my goodness, that's quite amazing.
Yeah, we just covered this last night.
Yes,
I know. I watched your show. You did an awesome job.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Guess what? The symbol for Tav is in the ancient Hebrew language an X.
Oh my goodness.
Oh dear my. Oh.
Now,
oh shit.
Again, we read in the Bible where it says these let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years.
Yes.
And because the Jews have a lunar calendar, there's no other nation or society that does it. And all the other nations have solar calendars. Now their New Year's are different. And that's why the signs for the moon signs are for the Hebrew people of Israel, and the solar are for all the other nations. So with that, let's see if I can that going past so if you want to cut in here, go ahead, I guess.
Okay. No, that's fine, Jeff. Does it go over Washington, the total solar eclipse?
Yeah. Well, it's going over Seattle. and there's something else we could talk about too, because but this perfect tetrad that's happening, that has already happened, it's past, present, and future lunar eclipses and partial eclipses.
Yes.
I want to notice that on January 5th, 2015 is a perfect bookmark between these two eclipses. You can go to nasa.gov and verify this.
Yes.
Forming a nice perfect red X. There's our lovely X again, right? A sign.
Yeah.
Let it be a sign.
Oh, my.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff,
That's amazing.
Let me ask you something. There's so much talk about the September 23rd date, and now we have a direct correlation with the August 24th total solar eclipse date. What do you have on the September 23rd date, or that roundabout area? Because I know we talked about some incredible information that you have.
Sorry, guys. That's something Jeff took me. That's Daz, the cameraman. I'm sorry. He sent me a picture.
Woo,
Jeff, okay.
Jeff P with a blooper moment there.
The views of this website are not always necessarily viewed by those on this listener, but okay. Well, okay, so with that put aside, I should have closed that tab out.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Let's see. What was I gonna go with that? Okay. I was gonna talk about the Lord's feast days, and I had a hard time pulling up I'm gonna have to tell you about it. That the Yom it's called there's actually 12 names for the Feast of Trumpets.
Yes. And
one of the names, this is going to be some really good stuff coming up here, so just hang in there. Really good stuff.
That's Rosh Hashanah, isn't it?
It's one of the 12 names.
Okay.
It actually has, I wish I had it memorized, had it written down, but one is the time of Jacob's trouble. And Jacob is a type of Israel, because when he had the wrestle with the angel, his name was James Israel.
Yes.
And so Jacob is a type of Israel. It was also called the wedding feast. It was also the day of the Lord, which is a type of the 7-year tribulation. And it just so happens that we have the signs in the heavens. So we pull this up on Stellarium, that Jupiter and this alignment just happens to land on this day. So let me punch this in real quick. I should have had this ahead of time, but it's kind of hard to.
Okay.
We run the clock up to September 23rd. So I guess I can run the clock here. So on the 20th is the last day of the Hebrew year.
Right.
Okay, this is the 29th of Elul. Okay, so, and also in historical things, this is a very ominous day. During these days, if we would have been viewing the Hebrew calendar from the very beginning, we would have been in awe every time something bad had happened to the United States or anywhere else that it lands on these days.
Yeah.
The stock market crash, 2001, 9/11, the 2008 real estate market crash, the 2015 bond market crash. I mean, it goes a very long time. Okay, so I'm getting up back, Mike. All right, trying to pull up the Virgo and the woman, because this is when it's going to leave. This is actually, I want to bring this up next. That this woman clothed in the sun. Now, you guys have seen this so many times by now, but I just want to show you that this is actually going to be, Jupiter will be leaving Virgo on October 11th. Here it is. So here we go. So we do this in. It's going to be Jupiter. I'm having technical difficulty. You know what? Well, you guys want to take over so I can punch this in?
Yeah, that's no problem.
I'm sorry.
So, are you referring? Is this the birth? So the woman goes through birth pangs and she gives birth. Is that
right? Maybe we just talk through it.
12.
Exactly. I could run the clock through, and we're gonna. I'm not seeing Jupiter in here right now, but it's there.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe the date changed on me. Maybe that's. Oh, September 23rd. That's why. Okay, there we go. So on August, here's Jupiter.
Oh yes.
This tiny little dot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's just go forward to. You can see Jupiter. This is going to be very compelling. Now, never mind the artwork. I'm looking at these lines here, leaving Jupiter at these constellation.
Okay.
Now you're going to find this. So here we have October 11th.
Mm-hmm.
Leaving Jupiter. Now, I believe that's symbolic of giving birth. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess I had some interesting dates that believe that will happen. If I could find what I'd saved here. In North Korea has a t-shirt that was made. And it shows what be the silhouette of Chernobyl, which was April 26th. Now this is made way before, made after 9/11. Professor Doom on a YouTube channel touched on this topic, and he said, this is 9/11. We all agree on that. We could never figure out what this building was.
Yes.
It turns out it was this building. I'm not going to try and pronounce it, but that's the name of this building. And I just propose, is this the day, October 11th? Because if this would have been of 2017.
Okay.
Oh, I see what you mean. The date, yeah, because you have an extra number in there from the 9 to the 10, so therefore the second one in 11 would have been exposed.
Exactly.
There.
Now let me show you something else that's pretty. I'll take you to Deagle.com. This is an interesting video here. I want to show you too. This was put out 2311. Be ready. Maybe let's just go ahead and play it.
Okay.
Are you ready? And it's got some signs in here as well that coincide with everything I've just been talking about. So here we go. A little playback issue here. This is from my YouTube channel. I saved it on here. I know I got copyright strikes when I play this. You know what? It sounds not playing. I'm just going to skip forward and show designated locations. Okay, and there's Christians around the world that are trying to figure this out. And by the way, the opening scene of this looks like something that would be an EMP attack.
Wow.
We could see, I'll show you, like the collapsing magnetic pulling away. And this guy comes in here and all this cryptic stuff, designated locations, and he shows like all these natural disasters. We could see the Oklahoma, the Twin Towers, and all these disasters happen. We're trying to decrypt what this guy has been trying to tell us. And so we have this blurry, watery image here, which everything else is crystal clear, which I think is the New York tsunami.
Yeah.
And again, we could see the Illuminati, all these man-made false flag events that had happened in these pictures. I want to get a little towards the end here. He does have some key things that he says here. I can't believe this thing isn't playing for me. He gives figure on a live feed, right?
That's because the Google Hangout. It
just won't play. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Okay, he says something here in this little message here. Run away. Backwards, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so then we go a little forward here. Sector New York water.
Wow.
Oh, okay. My Lord.
And then we go a little forward here. I also want to talk about, pull up this kind of implies like maybe the collapsing EMP thing or whatever. Right here. This is what I want to show you. Look at these signs here. The symbolism. Was this like 1 o'clock Pisces? And that looks exactly what I'd see the Aquarius sign. And what, the Earth getting unplugged?
Wow.
And right now, let's see if I can.
What would be the significance of Pisces and Aquarius in that little cryptogram there?
I'm glad you asked. So let me launch Solar System Scope. This thing come up.
Because we've had a lot of talk about Pisces and Aquarius in dealing with an incoming object.
Well, right now, I think it's a planetary alignment. Not that it's a water event, but it is the sign for Aquarius. Perhaps you want to pull this up, but for the sake of time, I'm just... Okay, so we got Aquarius, a watery planet, right? Is pouring out water. Now, I don't know, many people are going to say, what is Aquarius? But aqua, water, whatever. I'm tired of arguing with the trolls over this one. And then Neptune, the water god, right?
Yes.
Neptune has a 165-year orbit around the sun, and it just happens to, it's just about to leave the Aquarius constellation. So I think while it's in this, and it's going to be leaving also during this time frame, the Aquarius constellation. We don't got much time left.
So you're looking at a planetary alignment between the Earth and Neptune in Aquarius.
Right.
Okay, when does that planetary alignment occur?
Oh, between Neptune? That's a very good question. Look, if I lined it up from the sun, we have September 8th. If we line it up through these other planets, looks like September 27th.
So it all depends on the perspective that you're lining it up.
Correct.
So we're looking at somewhere within the middle to the end of
right, because it's about to leave, and it's very rare that we're going to have that we in our lifetime see Neptune in the Aquarius constellation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like once every 2 generations or something, right?
Okay, so now we're looking towards the middle to latter part of September. What do you have after that?
Well, we have let's see if I can pull up some more historical. We had Nineveh, we had the perfect sign. We've got I already talked about the 70th Jubilee. Oh, Donald Trump.
yeah, the whole Donald Trump factor there.
Yeah. See if I can pull that up.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff's come up with some really wild correlations with Donald Trump, the United States, Israel. This is, I mean, I've heard some portions of this from others, but Jeff had a pretty good, bead on all of this. And it's just a lot of information. We're talking hours and hours of information. He's trying to condense a lot of it for you. And Doctor, also, if you have anything to interject, because I know a lot about the subject also, just feel free to jump in there. But go ahead, Jeff. Let's go ahead and move into this.
Okay. I was flowing the way I kind of hoped it would, but as I got so many tabs open to try and show you this stuff. Okay, so I'm in the King James Version of the Bible, and if you do a word search, you could see that you're going to get the word Trump. Well, it's highlighted, but you're actually going to get the word trumpet. Yes. But only twice in the entire Bible it actually will come up. Let's see if I can pull this up.
The last Trump. Right.
So only twice. In the Bible, and they're both right here.
Right.
We've got Corinthians 15:52. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound. And what trumpet are we talking about? Because we're approaching the Feast of Trumpets.
Yes.
It's the blowing of the trumpets. It's Rosh Hashanah. It's got like 12 different names, and they blow these trumpets, the shofar horn. So, and the other verse that it's found in is in Thessalonians.
So, Jeff, that's talking about the resurrection of the dead, and the living. So
and right here in this.
So that's what some people call the rapture.
Right. For the Lord himself descend with a shout and the voice of an archangel with the trump of God. The dead in Christ will rise first. And then the next verse will say, then we who are alive and remain shall be caught up to meet the Lord in the air. In fact, let's see, Jesus even said it in Luke 21.
Wow.
Let's pull up. Where is Luke here? Did Luke just disappear off this thing? It did, didn't it? How come I can't find it on here? All right, I'll find
So
Luke in here.
21, what verse?
It said being, oh, here we go.
Okay.
So Luke 21. So in a way, this is good news.
Yes.
Okay, so it talks about being weighed down with men's hearts failing.
Yes.
It said, the generation passing away. Yeah, it's going to be good. We could get into the generation thing a little later, but
yeah, because Jeff, this is what we're looking at the moment, the things that are coming upon the Earth that these objects are causing.
correct.
Because of being in the inner solar system and in the sun's corona and so on. So these things are accelerating the disasters that are coming upon the Earth, basically. And this is what we're looking at now.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And we could talk about the supermoon. I mean, that was the first sign. Mm-hmm. Oh, I know. See, I'm kind of jumping around, and I apologize. I was going to talk about Donald Trump.
Yes.
Let me just say it, and then I can back it up for any skeptics. Here we go. Donald Trump, born June 14th, 1946.
Mm-hmm.
It says here 71, but not quite. I don't know why they even say that. And here is Donald Trump's inauguration, January 20th, 2017. Right?
Yeah.
So I take those two dates. I'm going to add 70 years, 7 months, and 7 days. And guess what? I get his first full day in office.
Oh my goodness. January 21st.
Okay. That right there should just go, wow. Right? I mean, now think about that. What are the odds that a president is born 70 years, 7 months, 7 days old, in the Hebrew year 5777, in the our year 2017.
Oh my God!
And in the month before the year in 2016, we had a supermoon that was 70 years, and now we've got an eclipse that's going to shadow the Earth 70 miles wide.
So what Jewish year are we in? Aren't we in the?
We are in the Hebrew.
5777.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have a very, very deep Jewish Hebrew connection to all of this also.
Right. And that's what I kind of want to talk about some other things. You know what? Let me skip ahead. Maybe just because I'm on this tab, we got to touch on this one.
Yeah, that's cool. Before you start this, let me ask you a straight up. I'm just going to blow this right out of there. Deep down inside, with what you know, with what you researched, and what you feel, do you think Donald Trump is the Antichrist? I think. What is this all saying? Because Trump's in here. He's in here so deep, man.
Yeah. Well, I think he's aware of Planet X. You know, he saw him walking inside a chemtrail plane, and he, to me, in my gut, I was like, what's up with Donald Trump, these sevens? When I knew that, I knew he was going to win the election. He was placed there by God. He is doing what's right for America, and we have nothing but protest. And nowhere, you know what came to mind? The Lord spoke to me. I believe this happens to people, and this is where I get my ideas for my channel, but I gave him credit. The name Cyrus came to mind. Now, anybody who's studied the Bible,
yes.
There is a prophet to predict, I think it was Jeremiah.
No, it's in Isaiah 45.
Okay, Isaiah 45. We could pull up. Said Cyrus. They named him by name 100 years before he was born.
Yes.
Now, what did he do? He invaded Babylon and brought the end of the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And when did the kingdom end? In 539 BC in October. Well, that could easily put it in the realm of Yom Kippur, again, a fall of another nation during Yom Kippur.
Mm.
So,
and do you think, and what you've researched here, because I know you know what you're talking about here. Do you think the next Babylon is going to be the United States? Is that what
absolutely.
This is telling you? Or?
Yeah,
because that's how I feel.
If you could, I may not have time to keep going back and forth between these web pages, but in the book of Revelation, it talks about the fall of Babylon. There's two of them. There's the money system and there's the religious system. I think we're the money system.
Yeah, because
it goes on to say that Babylon was judged and the kings of the earth mourned because they made them rich. Now, what nation is making everybody else rich and we're becoming poor? Huh?
The United States of America.
Yeah.
Exactly. Who made China? Who funded all their factories? Hello?
The United States of America. And who
Exactly.
owns most of the United States? China.
China. Exactly. So they're going to be a little sad because their freaking money, their cash cow is going to disappear.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at now,
we have a tremendous amount of correlation between, you know, China, the United States, and Donald Trump. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do, I'm going to let Jeff, he's going to go ahead and go through this information that he's got right here, because this is pretty stunning. But whenever Jeff has more time, we're going to bring him back on here with the doctor, and we're going to dig a little bit deeper into this while we have the time.
Yeah, I just want to mention something, that the Antichrist, the number associated with the Antichrist is a 6. And we have 7s associated with Donald Trump. So I don't think he's the Antichrist.
That's right. Exactly. So no one really knows for sure. I mean, Prince William seems to fit the tab very well because his coat of arms has all the symbolism of the Red Book of Revelation. Mm-hmm. He's 33. He works with the sun god. He and his father were both born on the solar equinox, the summer equinox.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about Kim Jong-un.
Well, no, I'm talking about the Prince of Williams, which is part of the royal family. They're super rich, right?
Okay.
No, Kim Jong-un, you know, that's North Korea. So kind of we're going back to that. Remember I talked to you, saw the T-shirt of the October, whatever. So going back to October, this is a website called deagle.com. Now, I'm just fast forwarding because it took a little difficulty getting here, but I'll show you how I can get this. So this is a military-owned aviation prediction website. It does a lot of stuff here. And what do they know and how do they come up with these figures? But I just want to show you that North Korea is the only one of all the nations that you could search that there's no prediction. 0. No military budget, no density, no population, nothing.
What does that mean?
It will be destroyed as a nation.
I think it's going to get nuked. That's what I think in my gut. Now let's look at America. Let's look at New Zealand, where your buddy is, right?
Yeah.
And let's see who's going to fare at these end times. As a matter of fact, I challenge anybody to go and look at this and find all the coastal cities and watch how you're going to have a greater population reduction. So what do you think? Okay, so let's go back. I'm going to take you to the homepage. Okay, so here's the homepage. Okay, this is how you find it. Deagle.com. You go to the bottom, other countries, other info. Click on this, and let's look at the United States. How are we doing? We got a population of 324 million people, and they predict that we're going to have a population of 54 million.
Oh,
now there are trolls out there. There are trolls that say, no, that means we're going to get 54 million less or whatever. Let me shut that argument down real quick. The population. How about the density? 34 inhabitants per square mile is cut down to 6. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Look at the military budget. 612 billion chopped down to 8 billion.
So these are everything. If you take a look at it, everything is in a deduction format, a very heavy deduction format. Right.
And now there's people that went and emailed them and said, hey, what's up with that? And they're like, oh, that was a glitch. Well, it hasn't changed, has it? In fact, this used to be 68 million. It's down to 54. So yeah, you keep on tabs on that. Let's look at Japan. How are they going to fare on this? Population, 27 million. Density, 335 inhabitants per square mile. This actually number went up a little bit. A population at 127 million and a density down to 289.
289,000.
Well, that's like what, 100 less people per square mile? That's not good. Not to mention, this is 2025. Didn't people going to produce and make a higher population at that time? I mean,
so we're talking.
Look at their budget.
We're talking major population populations literally disappearing over a course of a few years.
Right.
Probably most of them will perish instantly, and then you'll have the gradual die off from hunger, dehydration, and sickness.
And so everywhere I look, I see the density going down.
Oh my Lord.
We went from 96 in Spain to 47.
Wow.
That's like 1 in 2 people.
Yep,
right?
that's half.
But that's average, right?
What about,
I mean,
what does it have anything for like South America? Because I've always had this recurring dream about South America being about.
We have to name a city. So think of like Brazil, for example.
Yes.
So we went from their density, 24 inhabitants, to 25. It actually went up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
that's peculiar.
The reason why I was saying that is there were areas of the South America that were going to be completely 100% inundated, destroyed completely. But there was a very large safe zone in Brazil. Okay, so that right there, what you're saying does make sense, because if you're going to flee the west coast of South America, where are you going to go? Over the mountains and to Brazil.
Yeah, you want to be underneath. Well, many believe it's going to hit off the coast of Atlantic and a direct hit into America. And so you want to be on the other side of the planet. And according to Gil Burchard, and I don't agree 100% with everything he says, but he did touch on a couple of topics that the pole shift, when it happens, Israel will basically be a pivot point.
Yeah,
where it pivots.
I've had the same conversation with him on that.
So at the point of the least pivot, or the least angle, the least temperature change, or any change, because it's just spinning in its place, as opposed to suddenly, being on the equator or suddenly being in the North Pole. So try and show that. How about find up New Zealand here?
Yeah.
Well,
specifically the North Island.
There it is. So they're going to take a cut too. We can see the population going from 4.5 to 3.3. Now remember, this is like decade from now, and you think the population would double every 5 to 7 years or whatever, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And so yet to be still less, that's still not good. And they went from 17 inhabitants to 12 inhabitants. So they're going to have some damage there. And I definitely wouldn't want to be in the coastlines anywhere.
So this is stretching from when? 2017 to what year?
2025.
Okay. So that's what, 8 years?
Right. So what would the population should be looking like if everything was normal?
Yeah, you'd see population increases, but what we're talking about.
Sure, even if it stayed the same, it wouldn't be good.
I mean, listen, you're talking about a 1 million people deduction over a course of 8 years. But the one, like I said before, the one main factor that we don't have is how many of those people will go instantly. Okay, so you could literally have 800,000 people die instantly, and then the other 200,000 would actually die off because of sickness, food shortages, whatever, over a course of 8 years. So, doctor, you're good at math. If you had 200,000 people left over, and 8 years, how many people are dying off per year? You have a calculator there.
Yeah.
Huh. You guys,
it's about 25,000 per year.
That's that's pretty.
But what will probably happen in that case is a huge number will die, and then those that are left might have some children and grow the population a bit. So we are looking actually at much greater decreases immediately.
Yeah,
When
exactly.
this
That's my
disaster,
point. That's
yes.
my point.
Yeah, that's probably what will happen. And then because the population is so down, people will try and have some children and grow the population over those 8 years.
Yeah, I get you. Good.
You
Jeff,
guys,
what do you have here?
this is the Georgia Guidestones in Georgia. They built this in, I think it was 1980.
Mm-hmm.
Small Americans. Anyways, it's called the Georgia Guidestones, and you can see they've been vandalized.
Yes.
This is basically what it looked like. It's got it kind of worships the sun god. The sun comes through here and shines on these pillars. There's 4 of these giant pillars. I think they're approximately 12 feet high, thick granite.
Yeah.
And they're both sides, inscriptions on both sides in 8 languages of the world. On all the sides, they have. So here's the inscription, and we're going to read it in English. I like this number 1 here. Maintain humanity under 500 million people.
Yeah. My goodness.
What about the 6.5 billion others?
Yeah. Wow.
So I think that takes it past conspiracy.
Yeah, I think
it is a conspiracy. It's no longer a theory.
Mm.
So, you guys, anything else you wanted to add to that?
Well,
that's
that's very interesting. Yeah.
You know, I was kind of interested in the numbers for Russia.
Oh, okay.
Because we've talked about Trump, we've talked about China, we've talked about Korea, but another big player in the game is Russia. And
yeah, here's my thoughts on that one too.
Yeah, we all know that they had that massive drill not too long ago.
Yeah, like 2 million people.
Was it 4 million people?
Yeah, it was in the millions. Underground, they went underground, and they're ready for something.
Yeah, and then we also know that China literally has a city with high-rise apartment buildings, a complete city built with absolutely not one inhabitant.
Right.
Yeah.
Why would you build an entire city with buildings and high-rise apartments and streets? I mean, it's a city, and there's not one living soul there.
The same reason why we have hundreds of empty prisons all over America.
Yeah.
We have overcrowded prisons, and yet we have all these prisons with no one in it. Oh, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, and China actually has more than one. I think they've built a couple of cities that are just like ghost cities, but brand new.
Yeah, there's a lot of information here, folks, and we're definitely going to get back with Jeff P. and the doctor, and we're going to keep on delving into this because I think it's very important. I believe in spirituality. I'm not a super religious man, but I do believe in God. Look, I went to Catholic school for 9 years. I've read the Bible from beginning to end over that period. And there's a lot of information here, even, with the Torah, the Bible, biblical prophecy, what's actually happening right now, this total solar eclipse. There's so much information here. We could be here for days.
Right. Yeah, we could talk about, again, all the events that had happened in the past. We could talk about this. We could talk about... You just do your own research. Again, it's sad that we had our calendar changed. If we would have been looking at the Hebrew calendar, we would have been stunned a long time ago. Yeah. Or we're just missing it. We're not seeing the lineup of this stuff.
So we were talking earlier yesterday and today, and deep down inside, with what you've discovered, what you've researched, I'll just come right out there and ask. When do you see a deadline on this?
That's a tough question, but you know what?
I don't mean to put you on the spot about a date.
No, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I know Christians are to come down on me I'm a Christian, but no one knows the day or the hour. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and set a rapture window. Okay, and I don't care if you unsub me, but it's going to happen, I believe, on the Feast of Trumpets, but no one knows when that day actually starts, but they have to see it. I guess we never touched on that topic. So something I think big is going to happen first between like September 23rd all the way up until the 28th of Elul, which would be September 29th, which just before the days of Yom Kippur, because those 2 days don't cross each other. And then Yom Kippur, I think, is going to be a day of reckoning. I really do.
Interesting.
And that's basically September 3rd. But there's going to be a sequence of events that's just going to keep happening. And I know people know something big, but there's all kinds of big things. The New World Order, nuclear war, and earthquakes, pole shift. I think my gut on the actual crossing of Planet X is probably late October. But I'm just going by biblical. I'm using the Illuminati, the suggested programming, everything that I see in Hollywood, the signs that we see on from different, all kinds of perspectives.
Yeah.
Very interesting material. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Jeff, what time do you got to cut out of here?
I could hang out a little more if you guys have something more to discuss. I think I'd covered everything pretty much. I was going to talk about these Jubilee years.
Yeah.
Man, I can go all the way back to 1367 BC, but for the sake of time, that these epic events have been happening on the Jubilee cycle years, starting with Jerusalem in the 6-Day War. At the blood moons, sorry, I keep getting distracted by the feedback. Anyways, there was 50 years between Jerusalem getting the land grant and getting possession of Israel. So here's the sequence of events that I think is going to happen. First, they got the land back near the timing of the blood moons. And then they conquered Jerusalem after another tetrad. So they got the land back. They've got the capital back, and the only thing left is getting the temple back in the temple. Now, the Bible says that there is going to be an Antichrist that's going to do a peace deal with Israel against the will of God, but it's going to happen anyways for 7 years. And in this peace deal, they're going to get the temple back. I think I showed you earlier, the Temple Institute, they have everything in place. The stones have already been cut. They're just going to put this thing together like Lincoln logs. So they've got the candles, the worshipers, the red heifer. They've got it all. They're going to build it. There's going to be a peace treaty. So I guess that's it. If anything else you want to add, I'm ready to listen.
The next time you come up with some additional information, the more and more you delve into this, just let me know, put everything together, and we'll get out here and let everybody know what you've discovered, because I find the information very, very interesting.
So to me, I think Donald Trump is a character like Cyrus, who comes in. He didn't kill the people of there, but it represented the end of that kingdom, because they basically tore down the walls. There's no longer a Babylon. It now became the Medo-Persian Empire.
Yeah, but there's something else, and that was that Cyrus was the one that told the Jews to go back to Jerusalem and build the temple.
That's right. They went and built the second temple.
That's right. So it was him who decreed that it should be done, because it sounded like God spoke to him.
Right.
So I wonder if this current Cyrus that we have might not.
Yeah. Well, I think he could play that, because back to the 70s, there was 70 nations that voted against Israel during the Barack Obama days, and they put a lot of pressure on them. And now there's a lot of Christians having dreams that said that in the day that they divide Israel is the day the Lord is going to send an angel and is going to split America in two at the Mississippi River, just like the old Navy maps. within 24 hours. So that's why I think it, the Feast of Trumpets might inaugurate between the Feast of Trumpets and Yom Kippur could be the talk of a peace treaty, and we vote against Israel. Donald Trump is going to easily cast the vote. I mean, I don't see him really we're for Israel, but we're for peace. And if that happens, I know that they're going to build the temple at some point, and the Dome of the Rock is going to be in the courtyard. The new temple is going to look like they've got the blueprints already made. So,
yeah.
And the Antichrist is going to come in 3.5 years after this and desecrate it with a big pig, and everything gets even worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very, very, very interesting.
So we're watching it before our very eyes. And it's just talk about cognitive dissonance. It takes some time to swallow this truth. And it takes a lot of courage to say, hey, I'll put my channel line. You asked me to set a date. That's what I think. I mean, it all points there.
Mm-hmm.
It all pointing. I don't know precisely, again, the Feast of Trumpets, you need to see that crescent moon with the eyes in Jerusalem. The clouds can block it.
Yeah.
So, only the Father would know when the two witnesses in Jerusalem are going to technically see it. And they do this thing called the blowing of the trumpets, and they blow it 100 times, 99 short and long blasts. And then at the 100th blast, the blower of the shofar horn, which is a ram's horn, blows it with all his breath. And I think that's the last Trump that we're talking about. It's funny that we have a Donald Trump and Michael Pence, Trump Pence. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, God has a sense of humor, I think.
He does.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that just blew my mind there. The Trump Pence. Oh, Lord.
It just keeps coming, man. It just keeps coming. And you just keep seeing sign after sign after sign. We're seeing the dark sun halos for the very first time in the year 2017. And we're in the year 2017. And, that I failed to mention that Rosh Hashanah is the 7th month also on the spiritual calendar.
Yeah.
Because the 7th month would be the first month, depending on how you look at it. It's a spiritual or the, what do they call that? The civil calendar.
Mm.
On the spiritual calendar, it's the 7th.
Yeah, that's right. Because that calendar starts with in April or in Nisan, isn't it? The first month.
Yeah. Nisan is over in April when that next eclipse comes over. It's right. They call that the birthday of Jesus.
That's right.
Or Happy New Year.
Passover. That starts with Passover.
Yeah, and in the spiritual calendar, that goes to 6,000 years.
Very interesting. Yes.
Yeah. So do your own research. Check out these websites. Hopefully, leave links for all this stuff. Deagle.com and this shirt that they came up with. What was up with that? $7 billion building they didn't even bother finishing. It's still empty.
Wow.
You do some research on that one. Why did they stop building it? Why would you want to finish something that they're going to blow up?
Exactly.
What'd be a good idea, Jeff? When you get some time, I know you're real busy, but the next time you're sitting down and you're delving into all of this, why don't you make like some notes? I don't know, you type them up on a Word program or whatever.
Right.
Like 20 notes of these dates, the correlation, who's involved, what countries, whatever you find.
Yeah, I did a video on that. Just left a long list of everything. It just kept growing, kept adding to it of everything that's just beyond coincidence.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of it that, it is definitely beyond coincidence.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's in a way there's good news. I was hoping to find that part of Luke where it says, Luke chapter 21. He says that all these things are gonna. Maybe I already read that. And it says, you're counted worthy to escape all these things.
Yeah.
So there's an escape. And that's what Feast of Trumpets is all about. So, well, it's been a pleasure talking to you guys, and thank you for giving me the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, next time you get some free time, and, I know there's so much more information to give out on this. We could definitely do another live stream and put more of this information out, because I think it's very important, very, very important, because as we said, there are way too many coincidences that go back so far.
Man, just time and time again. I mean, just go back and how come kingdoms are always falling in the fall?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? Babylon.
Yeah. And Jeff, I wanted to ask you something. So you say you should be study to make your accounted worthy. What do you think people have to do to be worthy?
It's actually pretty simple. Is just confessing it's just confessing the Lord to be your Savior. He died for you. So many people, either they don't care or they're trying to earn some kind of salvation, trying to work their way. Yeah. It's just a free gift. Mm-hmm. And so being counted worthy, I think it's just, I do it too. I know I'm worthy only because I was gifted the gift of salvation. I didn't earn it.
Yes.
So, no one's going to brag in heaven like, hey, I did all these good things. There's going to be no bragging. And so it's a free gift. I did nothing to get it.
Yes.
And to me, when I do that, I do pray every time the first meal is, oh, God, this is so intense. I don't want to miss this opportunity. And sometimes I question myself like, oh my gosh, hey, I live in California. Okay. And I haven't done a whole lot of prepping. Oh, you know what? Can we touch on the topic of the eclipse as far as like what's going to happen economically and the cell phones and all that crazy stuff?
Yeah. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah.
Every city that eclipse totally encompasses, I guess they're calling them solar eclipse gypsies or whatever, that they're going to be coming into these cities like Seattle and Riverton, Wyoming, that apparently those communities can't even support them. Not with food, not with water, not with hotels. And here's the shocker. Apparently the cell phone networks can't even be supporting them.
Yeah, I heard that also.
Because, well, that makes sense because cell phones is a network. It has IPs. And you can only have so many network user IP addresses. You can have network. It depends on the subnet mask, but you can only have so many users. So they're just going to shut the whole thing off. So I personally would just stay away from those areas. Luckily, we're below all that. So nothing to worry out of itself. I would just keep sharing the good news. That it's exciting in a nervous kind of a way, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's it's almost like a loss for words. It's so much to inhale.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've been chasing this rabbit down the tail a long time, and when I found out about Planet X, it just dwarfed everything I've been studying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does. Most definitely. A lot of information there too. Yeah, buddy. Like I said, next time you get some free time, just give me a call and we'll put something together and we'll get more of this information out, because like I said, there's so much, to put it into an hour or 2 hours of a live stream there's just no way to do it,
Right.
There's definitely a lot. Well, listen, do you have any last words for everybody? You and the doctor both?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say, I always, end these live streams by saying that we should get to know the Creator. And as you mentioned, how do we become worthy? Basically, we develop a relationship with Him, and He's the one that paid the price for us to be worthy. And as you said, it's a free gift, so we don't have to do anything besides go to Him and develop a relationship with Him and acknowledge Him and get to know Him. And so that's what I would like to mention now, getting to know our Creator. And His name is, some people call Him Yeshua, some people call Him Jesus, but He's the Creator, and He created us, and He created everything that's in this universe. And this is what it means. We don't have to be afraid as long as we trust in our Creator.
You know what? I want to add to that it says, repent first and believe.
Yes.
Believe that He died for you, and He's going to give you a new heart, and you're going to want to be a good person. And the word repent really is repenting towards your attitude about God and who He is. He's a God of love. He made you. He loves you. And He's not some ogre ready to pound you down. You know, he can't wait to have a relationship with you, and he wants all the best for you. And just everybody just has a bad attitude about the whole thing. So it's just changing your attitude about who God is and what he did. And when he gives in you a new heart, a new attitude about life, it's going to change everything. And he's going to give you visions, and he's going to get joy in your heart, and just going to live a good life. And you, instead of being full of fear, you can be filled with faith and actually be excited in kind of a good way. So I know sooner or later he's going to bring down his kingdom, so he's got to make it right.
Yeah, that's good, Jeff. Thank you.
What about you, Doctor?
What about me? Yeah, well, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I believe that repentance is turning away from, running away from God to going to him for help.
Right.
If people are running away from him because they're ashamed of their mistakes or whatever is happening in their lives, they're going the wrong way. By turning around and going towards him and seeking him and asking him to change whatever needs to be changed rather than relying on themselves. That is repentance. That's what I believe it is.
Right. And in that, after you have that attitude, you're going to lose your self-will. You're going to go with the flow more. Mm-hmm. You know, circumstances and things happen that make you better instead of bitter. And you're going to let God be guide your life. You know, I actually wanted to be a rock star. Seriously. Mm-hmm. I took lessons and everything for 10 years. And boy, the Lord just grabbed that out of my hand and said, you don't want that. I got something better. Yeah. So it was, and I'll tell you what, I was on my way to being a starving artist anyway, some homeless person begging for bread, playing a guitar on the streets of San Francisco. So after that, you know, I'm not going to expose who I am, but he's really greatly blessed my life in so many ways since. So I encourage anybody to take the leap of faith and do it. And we're running out of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does seem like that on some days.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah. I live in, again, it's bittersweet, you know, it's bitter to see people that they're not going to make it, including Daza, but it's sweet to know, again, on the better side, it's not the end is near, the beginning is near. So good things are coming too. You know, it's not just all bad news. I mean, you don't want to miss out on it.
Yeah, that's the way that I look at it. I don't fear anything anymore. You know, kind of the attitude. It is what it is, and you know, if you want to survive, you have to have the want, the will, and the faith, and you know, everything will fall in place. Each and every one of us has a destiny, and that is to be foreseen. That's all we can do, man. You go along with your day-to-day life. For the people who have been, you know, I think chosen to voice all of this information, you know, we've been given a calling at a particular time in our lives to stand up and start voicing this opinion and hopefully start reaching people, and as many people as we possibly can. And
right.
That's my effort. And I know that is the doctor's effort. And, you know, Jeff, I know it's yours also. And we're going to continue to do what we do until we can't do it any longer.
Mm-hmm.
But, yep.
It's just the only thing that we could really do. You know, you keep plugging away like I do every day, and you and the doctor. That's it. We just keep plugging away for knowledge.
And you pray to God, anything I think is wrong, or pray to the Lord about it and see if I'm wrong or right. You know, seek it for yourself.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be blown away when you realize where we're at.
Yeah.
What's happening.
Yeah. I mean, I know where we're at, but even every single day I get blown away at least once or twice a day.
There's always mind-blowing weather, mind-blowing, just every time you can't just like, oh, what's going to blow my mind today?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and cut our live stream. And I just wanted to thank Jeff and the doctor for being here. And as soon as Jeff gets a free break and some time, next couple of days, we'll be back. And I'm sure he'll have additional information for us. And once again, you know, it's a lot to take in, but that's what we're here to do. We're here to listen to the information. As I've said before, knowledge is power. So this is Scott from Planet X News and the Nibiru channel with Jeff P. and our rogue physicist, Dr. Claudia Albers. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for watching, and make sure you guys stay tuned. Take care.